All right, we have our hinge and pull warm up here. We're going to start with the deep squat to hinge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into a low squat position, ideally keeping my heels on the ground. I'm going to place my hands on the ground in front of me. What I'm going to do now is extend my knees, lifting my hips into the air. Should feel a big stretch on the hamstrings as I lift my hips up, and then sinking down to that low squat. Maybe pulling my knees slightly apart to make room for my hips as I sink down. I can add some variation in here by going into a split stance, lifting the back heel up as I come down and planting the back heel down as I lift my hips up. Here I'm going to feel a big stretch in that planted leg that's doing the hinging. You can switch sides. You can also play with different stances, changing the width or the distance between the split stance, and also increasing the stretch by reaching the hands closer to the feet. Next, we have band pulls. So you want to use a lighter resistance band for this movement. You're going to grab roughly about shoulder width apart. If it's too difficult, you can widen your grip and lessen the resistance. I'm going to start by pulling that band straight down. I should feel this in my lats, so the large muscles kind of below and behind the armpits on the back. You can see them working right there. And then for the next movement, I'm going to be pulling straight across. So that pulling that band across my chest. I have my elbows kind of in a locked position, so not fully extended, slightly bent, but not bending the elbow much when I'm doing the pulls. I should feel this in the back of my shoulders, in the upper back, between the shoulder blades. Next, we have our inverted crawl hip lifts and shifts. So I'm going to go into an inverted crawl position. I'll lift my hips off the ground, pressing my arms into the floor. So kind of pushing my hands down into the ground. I'm going to shift my hips back between my hands, and then I'm going to press my hips high up to the ceiling. It's all right if you can't get your hips back between your hands without the butt touching. That's totally fine. I may want to add more resistance just by doing a static hold and keeping my hips pressed up to the ceiling, feeling that strength in the hamstring and glutes. That concludes today's warm-up.